Hi everybody, welcome back to Sodbuster Living, or if this is your first time to my channel, hello, my name is Shalise and welcome to my side of the world. Today I'm super excited because Christy from Organized Mom and I are doing this collaboration together about finding time to read as a busy homeschooling mom. This doesn't just pertain to homeschooling moms, but just busy moms in general, and how to find those little pockets of time so that you can find time to read and enjoy the literary world. There are so many books out there that I would love to read. Solomon had it on par when he said, "To the writing of books, there is no end." And I love reading experiences. I love kind of getting lost in a book, as it were, and getting to see the characters and character development and pieces of information maybe about history that I didn't know, and kind of putting it together as my view on the world and view of different aspects of life and just all of the things relating to books. I love it. I enjoy it. I was a homeschool mom, or I was homeschooled as a child, and that was probably a big part of my life, was just being surrounded by books. Typically the classics, we always had like Oliver Optic on the shelves and G.A. Henty and the Pansy books and Nina Rhodes. All of these people, you may not recognize their names, but I read a ton of their books. Lisa May Alcott, a ton, and Josephine Lawrence, I read a lot of hers. And there's just a whole world out there that's open to you when you pick up a book and read, and then see character qualities that mean something to you and connect with you in a way that you take and try to apply to your life in some way. I've always had that experience, and because I was surrounded by literature as a child, I think as an adult I have a certain advantage, if you will, because I now am a quick and fast reader. But that isn't this is something that is a muscle and can be developed. It's kind of like starting to work out. At the beginning you're a little rough and you kind of figure your groove, and then your muscles get stronger and things get better, and you can read faster. And I think to a certain extent reading is similar to that. So when I start throwing out book numbers and things, please know that this is a muscle that has been worked on pretty much my entire life. So I am a homeschooling mom of 5 children. On top of that, my oldest is 13 and my youngest is 4. So I have some older kids in our home. But it's not uncommon for us to have extra kids within our home that I babysit as side hustles. And speaking of side hustles, I have quite a few of those. Now, probably one of the biggest questions I get a lot is, how do you find time to read all of these books? And again, it kind of goes back to that muscle. You know, as a quick reader, it may seem that these little pockets of time doesn't add up to all of those books that I have read, but as a quick reader, it helps. Trust me on this. If I have to pick up a nonfiction book, I take several months to read one book. So how do we as moms, as homeschooling moms, as businesswomen, as whatever, find those pockets of time? And that is kind of what this video is about. There is something to be said for the fact that whatever is important to you, you end up making time for, whether it's family, whether it's working out, exercise, working out, whether it's time with your girlfriends, shopping, and all of these things. If it's important to you and you make time for it, you'll find the time for it. All of us have the same number of hours in a day. It's just how we end up using those hours that sets us apart in a little different way. Again, middle grade March is something that I really have a heart for and enjoy and love. And again, that also helps me kind of cultivate our own shelves that I have here to see if the books that I have are ones that I want to keep on my shelves. I pick up books all the time at thrift stores and library sales and this and that. And so it's like, we need to kind of make sure these are the kind of books that I want on my shelves. So middle grade March offers that opportunity. Getting up early is something that I try to do, but more often than not, it's actually staying up late. Naturally, I think I'm more of a night owl, but in my heart, in my deepest of hearts, it's actually to be a morning bird. It is a life goal, and it's a pursuit that has taken me so many years to try and perfect. Nowhere near where I need to be, but those are either early morning or late evening hours. Those are actually probably when I get my biggest chunk of reading done. Typically the morning ends up being a lot of the online work, side hustles that I do, and then the evening is kind of just, I'm done for the day. I need to stop thinking. I need to stop doing anything. Give me a book. Let me just tune out for usually about an hour or two. Some people are like, well, I fall asleep at night. I get it. If I'm laying in bed, I fall asleep. If I'm out here on the couch, I can hear kids and I can direct them that it's, you know, bedtime, stay in your bed, stop talking, you don't need any more water, go back to bed. No, you've already gone to the bathroom 4 times already, get back to bed. And I can be out here doing that. It's not uncommon for my kids also to stay up late, just needing that little extra nudge. So again, you get about 1.5 to 2 hours on the couch every night of just reading. Also in the afternoon with my 4-year-old, it's not uncommon for him to fall asleep on me. He's still transitioning into kind of being a big boy, almost too big for naps, but there's just some days when you're like, you need a nap. Just come sit on my lap for a bit, and hopefully that means that your nighttime routine won't be too messed up. But ironically, as we're talking about this, are you falling asleep? You want to come sit on my lap? Okay. So all of these little pockets of time, those are the ones that I typically grab and just take a breather. So I know for some women it's important to work out, have the makeup. I don't do any of that. It's something that I do need to do. It's something that I do need to start putting in my routine is working out. It's actually going to be a priority this year of doing that. I need it. But you know, those 30 minutes, 1 hour, whatever it is of working out, I've turned it into reading. I don't watch television. There's one time a week when I watch television that's typically Saturday or Sunday, and it's a 45-minute episode of something. And that's pretty much it. I don't watch anything. I prefer to pick up a book, and so if you know, the family decides that they want to watch something, I'm like, well, if I would be sitting and watching it with them, carving out this time, why not I just grab a book? And I do. I grab a book, I go into the other room, and I use that 45 minutes to an hour just to read. Watching YouTube videos or an audiobook. It's easy to, it's not easy, but it is not uncommon for me to be making dinner and having a YouTube video up, kind of catching up on people and watching and doing things like that. But another thing that I have been out of the habit in, but getting back into the habit of doing, is actually turning on my audio books while I am cooking dinner or folding laundry or doing some other household chores kind of thing that I needed to do. I'll actually just turn the audiobook. Hoopla is a free audio app that basically connects to your library card, and you can check out a certain number of books through that a month, and that is a fantastic way to get free audiobooks. And I'm trying to think, I think you have them for 21 days before they go back. Libby is another one. I don't know if that's 21 days. I want to say it's actually shorter, but Libby is another one that you can get audiobooks and I think ebooks through. I just don't like ebooks at all. So that would be another option. And I honestly just don't know too much about Libby. I tend to find more options for the books that I'm looking for over on Hoopla. But those are two options that you can use. And then I do have an Audible subscription, and I get 1 credit every month, and sometimes they run great deals, and so I'll cancel, and then next month I'll kind of hone in on that great deal that they've got going on and just do that for another year. And then oh, with your Kindle Unlimited subscription, you have a section where you can also choose their Audible books, but once you've canceled, like, those Audible books go anyway, and that's another way to get Audible books. So there's definitely a lot of options out there to get them very inexpensively. Also, your library, but I don't really want a CD player and headphones while I'm working around, and some of the books I do not want my children to hear what's being read. So I'm also very careful on the Audible books about that. You staying awake? You falling asleep? Okay. Anyway, back to how we make time for all this. I just wanted to throw those resources out, but back to how we make time for all this. Yeah, cooking dinner. Audiobooks are great. Finding time in the evening or morning pockets of time, those are great. And then it is not uncommon for me to have a book on my lap as I'm working with the kids through math or grammar or whatever else that they're needing to do. My goal is to teach the kids how to do this on their own, but be there if they need to ask me any questions. And sometimes it means that for a new concept that we're learning, I needed a little bit more, and so I don't get as much reading, but I figure, hey, if I even eke out 15 minutes a day after a whole week, you're looking at like an hour and a half more of reading. And for me, that would be almost a, middle grade book read. So I like to grab those, again, just little pockets of time in the afternoon while we have cuddles and while I have other kids sitting and reading. It is not uncommon for me just to grab a book and sit down and do that with them as well. So anyway, again, it goes back to a mindset idea of, is this valuable for my time? If you like the idea of reading but don't necessarily enjoy reading as much, it's probably going to be a little bit harder to choose to do that over anything else you want to. Again, I also have older kids, and I was trying to encourage a young mama not too long ago who's like, I don't know how you have any time to read. And I said, look at your priorities. Right now you have kids that are 8 and under, 3 kids 8 and under, 1 with special needs. You're not going to have all the time that I can find for me, because you're the one doing all the dishes, you're the one doing all the laundry, you're the one teaching the children how to do these chores, you're the one doing all of this. And I have already gotten in a habit of having older ones that can do this, and I don't have to supervise as much to do that. So there are seasons of life where I wasn't able to read as much as I am now, and there are seasons of life even during this time that it's like I can't read as much, and that's fine. It's not to consistently keep this just so I can mark off another book read or find another thing that I want to do. Last year I had more craft projects done than I do this year. And that is because instead of reading, I chose to pick up a crochet hook or some knitting needles or some card making things, and I put my focus and energy into that. So again, all of these things, I hope that gives you a different perspective of what you're doing instead of reading, and how to make the time for reading if that is important to you. Again, going back to just teaching our children to help around the house so that it's not all on us, so that we have these downtimes, so that we can pour back into ourselves, so we can pour out to others, and so that we're not getting too tired. Those are essential. And just choosing, I've seen, I'm trying to figure out how to make it sound like I'm not judging. I'm not. I'm just saying I've seen where some parents will set their children in front of the television and so they can have some pockets to read, but they're actually distracted by the television. And so I don't have a television. If we watch anything, it's on our little laptop. So that means I have to pull it out and set it up and so on and so forth. But I've noticed that if I take the children to the park, then I have that fresh air. I have that time to read and sit down, and I can even still keep an eye on them. But I actually will get more in my reading, even though I'm keeping an eye on them at the park, than I would if there was something on the wall being watched, and it's healthier for the children in their environment. So going outside, going to the park, I know there's not one on every corner for everyone, but if that's an option, there's all these different things, and it's just that different aspect of this is available to me and I can do this. Another thing that I've worked really hard on is creating a minimalist life, and it's a long journey and it's a long process, but I worked hard on that so I would have more time to be able to read and have conversations with my children over the books that we have read. And yeah, it's all these perspectives that you don't think they amount to anything, but when you sit down and think of all the hours that you have read and how you've made that work, suddenly those little drops of water into the bucket gives us an overflowing fountain of wealth and knowledge and enjoyment and all of that kind of thing. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please be sure to check out Christy from Organized Mom and see what she has posted. And if you are from Christy's channel, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm so glad you did. And I hope you stick around, click the subscribe button below to see more content as they come out. And happy reading. Enjoy it, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
By a blast of icy wind. Shivering, I ran to the minivan for another armload of boxes. Dropping 2 of them on the sofa in the living room, I took the 3rd into the dining room. We were traveling light this time. School started, so for once I'd be ahead of the curve. I'd be the cousin of cute, perky Mackenzie Gifford. Shopping, and taking these for ice cream at least once a week. July and August were heaven. Then came Black Monday. That's what Mom called it afterward. I was practicing the piano that morning while I waited